So I'm upgrading my main boot drive to a 9.
When the two parts marked in red are used, blue is cut down to 2 times instead of 4 times. Oh, really? Huh. Read the manual, bro. Okay. Dude, just upgrade your system to X299, bro, and all problems solved. Your rig is so old, it can't even handle those NVMe drives, bro. No. I'm just messing around. I'm not poking fun. Just playing. I actually appreciate all the comments that you guys left me, and in today's video, I'm going to try to execute a few of those suggestions to see if it fixes the problem that I had with my Samsung 970 Pro upgrade. And hopefully, if all goes well, I will get some better speed. So before I do that, I'm going to run some tests. I'm going to see what my numbers are before I make any changes and see if I can make it better. So thank you for everybody who left comments. So I'm getting some fairly interesting numbers. Here on the left, I got the Atto disk benchmark giving me about 1.5 gigabytes per second read and 1.4-ish gigabytes per second write. So that's, I think, actually better than my last test when I first installed it. Over here is actually kind of interesting. The writing is 474 megabytes per second, but it's 1.3 gigabytes per second read. So that's a little weird, but whatever. And then on Crystal Disk Mark, we have a little bit more consistent results and actually more in line with possibly the speeds being reduced just a little bit due to some heat, just from being the third test in line. But either way, they're about 1.4 gigabytes per second read and 1.3 gigabytes per second write. I hope this works. I mean, I think it might work, but all right, NVMe Express. I hope this is right because I don't know. Oh, I hate restarting my computer. Oh. Hey, you know, it was a little quicker, actually. A little bit. Alrighty, so installing the driver directly from Samsung's website. Let's redo all of these tests and see if they changed. Okay, so after just installing the driver, running the test again, it looks like over here, things are pretty comparable. 1.5 read, and at the very bottom is 1.38 write, but here's 1.47. But up, it looks like it's a little bit faster on write, basically. That's the gist of it, just a little bit faster. Over here, though, this is interesting because I think last time it kind of derped, and it was reading 474 for some reason. Now it's a little bit more consistent with the speeds. This one's definitely a little bit lower, but it's within a margin of error. And as far as this test, it's kind of the same story. It's pretty close to what it was before, a little bit lower, but again, you know, that could be due to heat or whatever. So my next step is actually following what's-his-face on Twitter. He said, first he said, read the freaking manual. He's probably right. And then he said, you know, the whole, like, unplug these SATA cables and it won't make it run slower. So I actually have a lot of used SATA ports that are not actually being used. So I'm going to take apart the computer, or at least take both sides off. I'm going to trace the SATA cables that I'm not using anymore, maybe relocate or whatever I need to do in order to make the SATA ports that I have filled in right now that are not being used, not be filled in, and then reboot and see what happens. So during the boot, it for some reason reset my UEFI, so I had to go in and reset up the boot manager to boot to the 970. And then I figured I'd go in here and take a look at the NVMe configuration. I don't actually have anything, but it is recognizing the 970. Let's see, storage configurations. I don't know if there's really anything in here I can change. I don't know if I want to mess with that. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything in here I really want to change, per se. I'm going to leave the overclocking turned off temporarily for now, so hopefully it will boot first go and then we won't have any problems. Okay, it's a little weird because this is the third time it tried to boot. Third time, and it seemed like it was going to boot the first time around. It just did a restart, so I'm not really... It looks like it's going now, but it acted really, really funny. The first thing it does is tell me I have to restart right after I restarted. Hey, maybe this is a good thing. Do, 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 do. Hey, that was quick. It was quicker. Something I actually should have looked at before I did all this was to see what interface it was running on. So Gen 2 by 4. I didn't really look at that before I did all this. So I probably should have looked at that, see if there's any difference there. Okay, so if we start from the left, the first test that I ran, I was getting at the top end of 1.5 read. This is pretty close to that, 1.51. I was getting 1.53 before, so it's very similar, close enough, I'd say. And then the write speeds, this is topping out at 1.46, and I was getting about 1.45, 40, 43, somewhere around there. So pretty close there. As far as this benchmark, let's see, I'm getting 1258 now. I was getting 1295 the first time for read, and obviously the write completely derped out. But either way, it was aligning with the second test that I ran before I took out the SATA cables. And then we have the read speeds over here of 1326 versus 1398, which is my first run, and 1291 compared to 1323 on my first one when it comes to write. So it kind of looks like I didn't really gain anything from the little changes that I made today. I installed the Samsung driver directly from their website. I relocated some SATA cables and removed some unused SATA cables. In fact, I actually ended up taking out 5 different cables out of the case that were still plugged in. I just wasn't using anymore. Since I set up my Plex or Zeus server, I moved a lot of drives over to there, and I just never took the cables out. So they're just still sitting there. What this really boils down to with my computer is that I am planning to do some upgrades here relatively soon, maybe within the next few months, not sure yet. Depends on a few different factors in my life right now, but I don't want to put too much time into reprogramming, which I know that could probably help maybe a little bit as far as, how fast Windows run, but honestly, Windows is running really good. These are only synthetic benchmarks, games start really fast, nothing is sluggish feeling whatsoever. This is only synthetic benchmarks. I think the moral of the story really is that I need to get a new motherboard, new processor that's going to natively support this drive and its fastest, capable speed without being hindered by some old technology. I mean, after all, this motherboard is pretty old. I think it's, 3 years old now, something like that. So I need some upgrades. And that will come at some point. Don't know when, but either way, it will be here sooner or later. And then I will be able to take full advantage of this drive. And yes, for all you guys out there saying, you didn't reprogram, you're stupid. You're right, but it's more lazy than stupid, because I don't want to go through here and redo everything and then basically be down for that time period while I'm still trying to tweak everything, get it backed up and running the way I want it to when I'm going to upgrade anyways. So, lazy. And I know I was kind of like making some weird voices in the beginning of the video. I wasn't really making fun. I'm just kind of messing around. I actually completely, recognize my ignorance in, devices or components that I haven't actually tinkered with before. And I'm terrible when it comes to reading manuals. So with all that said, thank you everybody who left a comment. Unfortunately, I did try a few things today, or a couple things. Yeah, a few things a day, a couple things a day. And I wasn't able to get any more speed out of this drive. In fact, technically speaking, I lost a little bit of speed, but I think that's probably due to the heat, less due to what I did. So, but hey, if you got any more ideas, let me know. In the meantime, and this is a big if, I don't even know if I want to yet because I've read some horror stories as far as being bootable and reliably bootable, I might get a PCI card that will allow me to plug this M.2 drive into the PCI card and then hopefully run it at its maximum speed. But I'm on the fence because, again, these are synthetic tests, and since everything runs super smoothly, I don't know if dumping some money into a PCI card that, would be an adapter for this is really worth the money for me, because I don't know if I'd notice any difference. That would be worth paying the money to do that. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas. Might try them. Contact me on Twitter, hit me up in the comments, whatever you want to do. If you have any, solutions for me, let me know. I am the first person to recognize my own ignorance and bow down to those who know more to me. So thank you guys for watching, like and subscribe, and have yourself a good day.